I'm Lisa Linfield, a board-certified financial planner, CEO of Southern Pride Wealth, and host of the Working Women's Wealth podcast, which is available on any platform that you listen to. In the previous article in the series, entitled "This One Thing That Will Change How You See Debt Forever," we talked about the real cost of debt, not only in rands and cents, but also in what you aren't able to do, or the opportunity cost. We discussed how paying for debt was just paying for the people who lent you money to do those things you wanted to do. Your money paying for them to go to the beach, pay for their children's school fees, or you paying for their car and not yours. Understanding and tracking each month your total cost of debt, including fees, insurances, penalty fees, and interest, is the first step to financial freedom. As I always say, you can't grow your wealth if you don't know your wealth. For many people, knowing the total cost and opportunity cost results in the next question. So how do I reduce my cost of debt? Let me take you through the 5 steps to lowering your cost of debt. Step 1. Borrow as little as possible. It amazes me how often I'll see someone at a till going through their cash to see if they have enough money to pay for what they're buying. Realizing they don't, they then put all the cash away and pull out their card or loan documents and put the full amount on debt. You need to pay as much as you can with cash and pay as little as you can using debt. Because 2 things happen when you do this. Firstly, if you don't use the cash you have now, you'll probably end up not only spending for what you were going to pay for using debt, but also using the cash for something else, which you may not be able to afford, just because the money's there. By using as much cash as you can, you end up lowering your total costs because you've removed the temptation to use that cash on something else. Secondly, by having as little debt as you can, you reduce the interest you would pay each month and the potential for not having enough and paying penalties. You can also now pay it off quicker and reduce the monthly fees. The second step is to find the lowest interest rate, but be careful. If there is something you need to buy, like a car or home or essential piece of furniture you can't save for, shop around for the best interest rate possible. But you need to be careful because some providers have low interest rates but high monthly fees, or require you to take their insurance, which is very expensive. So like we mentioned in the previous episode, you need to understand the total cost of your debt, not just compare interest rates. Another thing to watch out for that we didn't discuss earlier is the time you have to pay it off. Some lenders force you to pay it off over a longer period of time and charge you penalties if you pay it off quicker. So although the interest rate may appear lower, because you're going to pay interest over many, many more months, it actually makes the total cost of that debt so much more expensive. Step 3 is to pay your debt off as quickly as possible. So paying it off quicker not only helps to pay less interest, as we mentioned before, it also has less months to pay monthly fees, monthly insurances, and less likelihood you're going to miss that payment and pay penalty fees. Never listen to the guide of the minimum payment. You need to pay the maximum amount you can afford. More on that just now. Step 4 is watching out for extra charges. It makes me so cross when I see people's statements and realize how many people are either automatically charged or convinced by the sales agent to accept other products that they actually don't need. A friend of mine's 87-year-old father was sold a computer he didn't need whilst in hospital. It was phrased as a thank you for his loyalty. But what was worse is that it, in inverted commas, came with insurance that he had to pay for. Now, that may be an extreme case, but if they didn't track every single bill, they wouldn't have seen it suddenly shoot up. Most lenders require you to have a small amount of life insurance for the amount you owe. That's to make sure that if you die, the debt you owe them will be covered. But watch out that there isn't other extras added onto the insurance. Another one I see are these memberships or rewards programs. Unless you've really done the homework to know for a fact you're getting more back by paying that fee, do not pay that additional monthly fee. Step 5 is to make sure that you never miss a payment. The biggest charges usually are missed payment fees or debit orders that bounce. What's worse is that you often pay twice. The lender will charge you because you missed a payment, and the bank will charge you for insufficient funds. Make sure you have enough money in your account if you have a debit order, or make a note in your diary if you're going to pay cash so you don't miss that pay-by date. Now let's chat about minimum payments. Many people, when they know about this, see it as a trick. I had a client recently tell me proudly that he made his minimum payment every single month. The problem is, if you're being charged 20% interest and you're only paying the minimum 3% payment amount, your debt will grow each year by 17%. And that's exactly what the lenders want. I recently did the finances of a 26-year-old woman who had kindly bought a home for her 8 family members to live in with herself. She took a loan to furnish the house. 3 years later, she still owed more than she borrowed. We added up how much she had paid over the 3 years, and she realized that she had paid in total more money than she had borrowed. How's that possible? She had been paying the minimum amount, which did not cover the interest, the monthly fees, and the insurances that went off each month. So the debt and the interest grew and grew and grew. The only time I recommend paying the minimum amount is if the money you get each month is lumpy bumpy. Then you set an automatic debit order for the minimum amount, and each month make sure that you pay manually as much as you can cover over and above that amount. So this week, find a way to make sure you put into practice each of those 5 steps to minimize your debt. I'm Lisa Linfield, and if you'd like to learn more about money, please do listen to my podcast, Working Women's Wealth.